It's cake decorating day and we're going to decorate my cakes for this weekend. So far, our fridge is looking like this. We only have 5 cakes on here. We still have 2 that I haven't covered yet, but I don't have space for them. I'll just have those ones that are covered now decorated, and then once they're decorated, I'll bring them in my cake fridge to store them for pickup. So some of the cakes there are actually going to get picked up in Beaumont tomorrow. Today is Friday, and they're all getting picked up tomorrow, Saturday. Let's start decorating. First cake we're gonna do, which is gonna be all white with some pink accents. I'm gonna insert the inspo, and then yeah, it's just like a very classic cake. We're also going to put the happy birthday on it first before we start decorating. That way we have all the writing over with. Basically how it is. And then I start with the lightest color as much as possible. So for this one, it is white. And your piping bag is ready. Now I just gotta leave some marking on the cake as to where I should put the what do you call this? The side things. Well, I guess you'll see here. Mark it here, 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 here. Same thing on the other side. I don't cover the entire cake as like properly, especially for heart cakes, because they're gonna get covered on the sides anyway. Go in and start piping. I'm not trying to make it as smooth as possible because I'm going to cover it anyway. This is a lot of piping. I don't know if she will like this. This is actually for my boyfriend's friend. It's her birthday. And she just said she wanted white base with a little bit of pink accents and some ribbons. I was gonna do another scoop of buttercream, but I think that's a little too much since it's a shorter cake. So then we're just gonna do the little piping. A little bit scared. I feel like we're going to run out of buttercream. I like making my cake borders or shell borders meet all the way at the end rather than having them go around, just because I feel like it gives you a cleaner look and you see the heart shape a bit better. We'll move on to our little flowers. Let's now cut up the ribbons. I'm not sure how many ribbons she wanted, but I'll just do what I normally do. So basically I put ribbons on all 4 corners. I know heart doesn't have a corner, but 2 here and then 2 right here. I actually kind of hate tying ribbons, but at the same time, I don't want to charge extra for them because I feel like they always make the cake look a little better. And I love that for people to have a really pretty cake. The only time I would ever charge for a ribbon is when it's a different color. Like it's not a color that most people ask for. So like for black, red, and burgundy, pink, and white, I don't ask for extra charge for the ribbons, but for things like if you ask me to put a lace ribbon or a green ribbon, maybe even a blue ribbon, I wouldn't have that on hand since most people don't really go for them. So those ones I do charge extra for because I have to go out of my way in order to be able to add those ribbon. Cake is done. Oh my gosh, I forgot to take a video on my phone. But whatever. Let's do a little swirl. The cake is not done. I still have to put the leaves. Moving on to this cake, which we actually still have to cover. She wants it to be blue with some cherries and then red piping around the sides. Okay, so for this cake, I just started kind of walking in and I kind of forgot to talk, but the client wanted an almost teal shade of blue with some cherries and red piping around the border. And she also wanted the cake to say 28. 8, not the number 8, but ATE. And then she wanted that to be also done in red. And also, don't worry about the imperfect edges here. Those edges will be covered up with the red shell borders later. Here, I was just piping cherries, but in heart shape, just like her inspo. Cherries on cake were actually so popular last year and even the year before that. But the hype, I think, around that trend kind of died down this year. So then when I saw this client's inspo had cherries, I was genuinely excited. And I just feel like the hints of red just makes the cake so appealing. And of course, we have to finish it off with some maraschino cherries. Oh my gosh, guys. You guys wouldn't even believe how hard I had to look for maraschino cherries last year. We had to go to a lot of stores. And I ended up buying one from Amazon and it was like $25 for a small jar. Anyway, here's the final look and she's gorgeous. For on our third cake, we're gonna put another dedication first. What was it? Happy 3 months old Kyrie. I added the markings and then now we're gonna do the piping again. I feel like I was kind of on the edge while making this cake because my client just sent me the most random cake inspo because I told her that I didn't want to disappoint anyone. That's why I always ask for inspo pics, just kind of to give me an idea of where your expectations are and how I could meet it. The cake. Oh my gosh, I think I'm gonna regret this because this is not what I planned to do. But this client was so sweet. She just gave me an inspo, told me that she wanted the colors to be light blue and dark blue. Needless to say, she ended up liking the cake a lot. Here's the final look. Cake. We're decorating it while I watch an episode of Teach You a Lesson. This one is a bento cake. Not my typical cake that I do, but I took it anyway because she wanted 3 dozen of cupcakes with it.
An official written letter. An apology to the victim's mother. A victim is a victim. A bully is a bully. And a liar is a liar.
I ran out of buttercream. We need to buy butter, icing sugar at Costco. I was in the middle of decorating. I was stacking 2-tier cakes and then I ran out of buttercream. I just didn't have enough to cover the cake. So yeah, good thing Bobby came to the rescue. It's cute. We got goods and also this. Hopefully this is good. We have to try it. But just getting Bobby some food. No one's gonna see. It's eating before we get back to working. Unfortunately, it started pouring on our way home. So then there wasn't much natural light coming into the kitchen because the sun was kind of hidden behind the clouds. And I hesitated filming for a little bit, but eventually I decided to do so. And for this cake, the client wanted a K-pop Demon Hunter theme for Addison's 8th birthday. So here we're just trying to add the disco balls while also figuring out the best placements for them. And when I'm adding toppers like this one, I find it difficult to figure out when to stop. until I overdid it already. But I'm glad that didn't happen with this cake. Anyway, a little story time. I was so happy with how this cake turned out. I'm usually a little iffy when it comes to making cakes with cartoon or anime, just because I feel like they're not my style. But this one turned out so good. But something bad happened to this cake just before it reached the event. The client picked up the cake. We don't offer deliveries, but the client told me that the road was really slippery because it was raining. And I'll just show you. This is how the cake looked like before I gave it to my client. And this is how it looked like when it got to the venue. And my client was just super nice about it. She wasn't blaming anyone. She just told me it was an accident. And she just said the cake still tasted great. The guests still enjoyed it. Anyway, on to our last cake of the night. This is a tall 6-inch cake, and the client wanted a yellow cake with paw prints and 2 cat figures on top. So I just added tiny orange blobs and even tinier blobs around them to make that paw print. This is how our cake fridge was looking like at the end of the day. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like that orange cat, or one of them, looks a little bald. And here's the top shelf of the fridge. And then the next day I just went and took photos of them and then boxed them so that they're ready for pickup.